Would you like some coffee as well, Penny? No?
Well, that's where you want to be. Okay.
Hello, Internet. I'm here today to tell you why cruelty-free cosmetics are bullshit. Now, I want to preface, I'm not specifically saying makeup. Cosmetics are regulated by the FDA, but they are not medical devices. So cosmetics would include things like shampoo, lotion, and soap, not just makeup. I feel like today, because most people understand cosmetics as makeup, that might be what we're specifically focusing on. But what I'm going to talk about does encompass the entire realm of cruelty-free cosmetics, shampoos, conditioner, everything like that, as well as cruelty-free makeup. Appreciate this because I spent a lot of time researching this for myself and felt the need to share it with you. Now, as to why the phrase cruelty-free is bullshit. There is no legal definition for the phrases cruelty-free or not tested on animals. The FDA goes on to say that some companies may apply such claims solely to their finished cosmetic products. However, these companies may rely on raw material suppliers or contract laborers to perform any animal testing necessary to substantiate product or ingredient safety. Other cosmetic companies may rely on combinations of scientific literature, non-animal testing, raw material safety testing, or controlled human use testing to substantiate their product safety. Many raw materials used in cosmetics were tested on animals years ago when they were first introduced. A cosmetic manufacturer might only use those raw materials and base their cruelty-free claims on the fact that materials or products are not currently tested on animals. The easiest point to take from this is that ingredients in cruelty-free products could likely have been previously tested on animals, likely to gain FDA approval. If you personally define cruelty-free as having never been tested on animals, once again, there's no official definition. It can be whatever the company thinks that it should mean. But if you personally define cruelty-free as having never been tested on animals, this is a huge blow to your expectations. It's even further exacerbated by a lack of available information on animal testing being involved in the approval process for given ingredients. When I looked it up, I couldn't find any information on how the ingredient was approved in the first place, only that it was approved. To explain what I mean by I couldn't find any information on the approval process, I was able to find information on certain ingredients, why they were approved or denied for certain areas, such as it would be okay to use this lotion on your body but not your face, or it's okay to use this certain pigment on your eyes but not your mouth. I could find that information, but I couldn't find any information on the testing process in which the ingredient was approved in the first place. If you can find anything, please link or cite in a comment below. I would love to be corrected on this. The second point I want to address in this section is that animal testing can take place through a third party, not associated with the product or brand, but hired by them. The brand can hire a third party to do FDA approval testing that includes testing on animals, but that brand can still market themselves as cruelty-free because they're using a third party as a buffer. Once the ingredients are approved, the FDA may find non-animal testing sufficient in a new product, and the brand feels able to market themselves as cruelty-free simply because there is no testing done in-house. This is especially suspicious when it comes to parent companies. We're all familiar with parent companies from when Kylie Lip Kits came out, bearing a striking resemblance to ColourPop, right? Those two brands share the same parent company. We also saw how similar the ingredient lists in both products were, didn't we? There were only a couple ingredients more in the Kylie brand. Well, I'm insinuating that a cruelty-free brand can contract through its own parent company to perform animal testing through another brand of the same parent company, thus keeping the development time and costs down while maintaining a certain image and prestige of the cruelty-free brand. Now, think how this strategy can be used. You have an established product that was tested on animals already. You add one more safety-approved ingredient, and magically you have a totally new, not tested on animals product/brand. So think Urban Decay, It Cosmetics, and The Body Shop are all cruelty-free brands owned by the one company, not cruelty-free, L'Oreal. If you look at the packaging and ingredients, you start to see a lot of similarities similar to the ColourPop Kylie. Just humor me for a little bit and consider that L'Oreal might be using the animal-tested drugstore line to beta test formulas, ads, sales, etc. in a real-world market before releasing the higher-end cruelty-free version of their product. They already learn what works and what doesn't work ad-wise to sell a new L'Oreal Nudes palette that comes out. Then a couple months later, around Christmas time, they have a brand new Urban Decay Naked palette that comes out with very similar shades and probably a very similar marketing campaign to the L'Oreal, just a little bit prestiged up. Now, they have the same parent company. They saw what worked and what didn't work for the L'Oreal version of the palette, and they're amping it up for the higher end, non-drugstore brand. Penny? No ma'am, take it to Dad. Go get Dad. This brings us to the next subject of FDA regulations, animal testing, and product approval. The official stance is the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act does not specifically require the use of animal testing in cosmetics for safety. However, the FDA has consistently advised cosmetic manufacturers to employ whatever testing is appropriate and effective for substantiating the safety of their products. Animal testing by manufacturers seeking to market new products may be used to establish product safety. In some cases, after considering available alternatives, companies may determine that animal testing is necessary to assure the safety of a product or ingredient. It goes on to state in a different section, the FDA does not have the legal authority to approve cosmetics before they go to market, although we do approve color additives. So the FDA will reject ingredients, but not the total formulas that they deem not supported enough. This is especially problematic for newly innovated ingredients because animal testing is simply a much more reliable method to test long-term effects. Rats are not only a cheaper, more abundant resource for testing than humans, but their short lifespan allows us to observe the effects of a given ingredient over the course of a lifetime. To gain similar data for humans would take 50 plus years, not counting for human error or lifestyle factors such as diet, exercise, genetic factors, the list goes on. Human subjects may simply forget the parameters of a test, like a daily journal or taking a pill at the same time every day for 50 years. Due to these constraints, the FDA will recommend animal testing to gain approval. There are resources available to advise labs to animal test as humanely as possible, but I'll have links down below to remind you of the Impossible Burger versus PETA issue. The synopsis is that PETA consulted Impossible Foods on how to perform humane rat tests and publicly defamed them for following the given advice. This is my cup. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Assuming we can avoid animal testing at the ingredient level, this may not be enough in regards to the finished formula. Some ingredients interact with each other in different ways at different proportions. Though the FDA technically cannot stop a cosmetic from going to market, the data ensuring the finished product's safety is essential. Once a product is on the market and a potential threat is brought to the FDA's attention, the FDA can investigate and issue an official warning of their findings. As you can imagine, this can cause a huge disruption to distribution, sales, etc. for the brand, not to mention just an image disaster. If the brand has data supporting their product safety that is not tested on animals, the FDA can deem it inconclusive and still advise animal testing to avoid product recall. Thus begging another question, is a cruelty-free product that is tested on animals after being brought to market, is that still cruelty-free? If so, then how far would only testing with animals when deemed absolutely legally necessary work? MAC Cosmetics has stated that they don't own any animal testing facilities anywhere in the world and test products for safety and efficacy with human volunteers. However, they sell in China, where animal testing is necessary for the safety approval of cosmetic products. MAC itself isn't testing on animals, but instead letting a third party do it in order to sell in China. just like some brands that only sell in America, and they do so while still calling themselves cruelty-free. Furthermore, what does it mean for brands with parent companies that sell other brands in China where animal testing is required? Tarte is cruelty-free, but owned by Kos, which sells in China. Bare Minerals and Buxom are considered cruelty-free, even though they're owned by Shiseido, which sells NARS in China. This raises the question, are certain formulas or parts of formulas being tested on animals for Chinese approval, then that data being presented to the FDA as pre-existing for American approval by the cruelty-free brands owned by the same parent company? Could those parent companies be using the Chinese sold brand as the third party to test formulas on animals for cruelty-free brands? Perhaps more importantly, what can we do as tiny, insignificant humans in order to find these answers and therefore enact positive change? It seems I'm leaving you with more questions than explanations. My personal take would be that the lack of definition for cruelty-free and the lack of documentation for product approval can cause confusion and mislead customers at best and be deliberately manipulative at worst. I personally don't let the term influence my purchasing habits. I will end with the FDA statement. The FDA supports the development and use of alternatives to whole animal testing as well as adherence to the most humane methods available within the limits of scientific capabilities when animals are used for testing the safety of cosmetic products. We will continue to be a strong advocate for the methodologies, refinement, reduction, and replacement of animal tests with alternative methodologies that do not employ the use of animals. So what goals do you have in shopping for makeup, shampoo, lotion, and other cosmetics? How do you plan on meeting these goals? Citations are in the description box. Please comment your thoughts on legal regulation, ethical veganism, and cultural relativism. And like always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I got 2 pugs. I got both of you on the bed now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you like it on here? Yeah, Mom's done talking. Stop it.
Who's a good girl? This is tested on animals. It looks beautiful.